37A, take one.
Today I want to talk about the rule of thirds. Now this is really helpful for anyone who wants to frame action with their environment, with the surrounding environment in an aesthetic way that's pleasing to the eye. What you want to do is that you don't want to distract your viewers, your audience, the audience that's watching your content, that's watching this video. You want to distract them, and so what you want to do is you want to find a relationship, an alignment with the action, what's going on in front of the lens and the surrounding environment. And this you could accomplish with this rule of thirds. Now the rule of thirds is just a suggestion, but if you're just starting out, if you are shooting vlogs, if you're shooting home videos, if you're shooting your kids at the park or a vacation video, whatever it may be, use this guide to help you frame your shots, and I guarantee you'll have better results. So the rule of thirds is a really simple thing to keep in mind. Most cameras will have a grid that displays the rule of thirds, where it shows 2 vertical lines and 2 horizontal lines. What this grid helps you do is you can align your action along one of the lines. Ideally, you put the action in one of the quadrants, at one of the intersections where both lines meet. So I'm just imagining this, but I imagine like the intersection is about here for the upper, and the intersection is about here for the lower. And I'm more or less standing on this vertical line right now. My head is in the upper quadrant. This is aesthetically pleasing versus something like, if I'm in the middle of the frame, you can't do much with this. It's not the way the eye interprets action. Our eye drifts into a corner. And this rule, the rule of thirds, helps you do is to place that action in one of the quadrants, in one of the corners, and it's easier for the audience to follow along. Most cameras will have that grid that you could display on them. On the iPhone, the video doesn't display the grid. The photo tab within the camera will display the grid if you activate it in your settings, but if you're shooting video, the grid actually disappears, which is slightly annoying. I wish Apple would fix that. Display the grid when you're shooting. It's really helpful. Most point and shoot cameras or most DSLRs, you could activate the grid and you could use it as a tool while you're filming. Which way is the action flowing? If the action is moving this way, you want to align the action in this quadrant, because I'm talking off camera this way. And so you wouldn't want to frame me like this, talking this way. I'm talking off screen. There's all this negative space here, extra space here. This isn't aesthetically pleasing the eye. It's not accurate. You're gonna lose viewers really quickly, because it's not, the brain doesn't work that way. The brain needs some consistency, some flow with the action. So it's not enough just to place the action in one of the appropriate quadrants. You really have to place it to where the action is flowing across the frame. If I'm talking this way, you put me in this quadrant, right about here, I would think. And now I'm talking to someone over here. You want to frame so I'm speaking this way. Practice that. Do it so often that you don't even think about it. You don't even want to think about the rule of thirds. It just comes natural to you. It needs to be just second nature to you. You don't even think about this rule. It just exists in the background. And then you could focus on actually going after better action or better narrative. What I've done here is that I've put this part of the playground in the upper left quadrant, because if there were children here, they would be climbing up, entering frame left, and then they would slide down towards frame right. And so you enter and then they exit.